You think this is a full transition back to the present, and that Eris is going to show up time jumped? Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Mushoku Tensei. And I just want to apologize up front to you in YouTube. Probably won't even realize this, but it's been a while since I recorded an episode. I kind of fell off. I fell behind. I didn't fall off. I was excited to do this. It's just, I had so much other things to get done. And not only that, but the board system that we use here on the channel just completely broke. And more important than that, it seemingly just broke specifically for this show. So it kind of held off trying to get that fixed. Anyway, if you didn't know, we're like 2 weeks off from the modern releases. So anyway, jumping back into it. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. So let's go ahead and look at that board real quick. Where we have the board changelog, which I connected Gal Farron to Nina Farron with a blue line. I connected Gino to Timothy with a blue line. I connected Gino, Gal, and Nina to Eris with a white line. I should say I did these in episode order, so they might change. I connected Gal to Ghislaine with a green line. I connected Eris to Auber with a green line. I connected Timothy to Nina with a green line. I connected Auber to Gal and Ghislaine with a green line. I connected Gal to Orsted with a red line. I connected Nina to Gino and Berg with a white line. I connected Nina to Bodigatti with a red line. I connected Arita to Cruel, Nina, and Gal with a green line. And then I connected Cruel to Eris and Nina with a green line. As I said, some of the notes from the top contradict the notes from the bottom, but it's chronological order, so there you go. Also, to mention the board, I just could not figure out how I wanted to do this. You might notice a little pop-up there in the bottom right-hand corner. That's because if you look at this page, in the link down below, there's a legend off to the side. I tried to add the ranks in the factions area, so say I wanted to click, who's a Sword King? Those two. Those are Sword Kings. You know, who's a Sword God? Obviously, it's that guy. That sort of thing. However, doing that for every rank that's on the board, or every rank that exists, gets kind of crowded. Water intermediates, water beginners, that sort of thing. The same thing you can do on the board, say if I want to see who all the enemies were. That's everyone who considers each other an enemy. All the allies, all the romances. I should also mention, once again, that this is the board that I was trying to pull over from our old system to this one, so hopefully it's up to date. I rely on you all to tell me. That said, on to my notes. Gonna be awkward, Eris thinking that her and Rudy belong to each other, especially with everything going on Rudy's side. But given how she left, and how it just totally destroyed Rudy, I don't really think there's any blame on his side. And it's well past the point of being able to pull that back. Man's got a family now. And too many wives. But that's a different problem that I hope we never have to argue about ever again. Either way, from Eris's point of view, I can't imagine she considers this as much of a problem as it was for Rudy. So her eventual return isn't going to be carrying as much baggage with it as all of this. I guess to really date this, I've been playing too much Pal World. The moment the scene moved to Eris and Ghislaine standing over the snowy cliffs and looking down on the town, my first want was to jump off the edge and glider my ass down. But that's how I play Power World, so I don't know. It's kind of funny that Rudy and Eris splitting ways both brought them to places to be taught and increase their skills. Eris intentionally, obviously. Rudy indirectly. The way Eris shouts at Gal, depending on what kind of show you are watching, there is always that dividing line between entitled brat and prideful youth. In another universe, this could have easily been some spoiled brat, with no conceit as to who they were talking to. Instead, it's Eris, who's been through a lot and feels like they understand how the world works, plus, you know, typical Eris attitude. Potential is what divides the two. One is a poisoned well that just lacks information, which is what Gal gives her. A front row seat to being reminded that there are steps between him and Orsted. Something I'll have to be reminded of, they say that Orsted is one of the 7 great powers of the world, but it's been forever since we got that ranking of powers back in Season 1, you know, back when we were leaving the Dodola village area. But I think it was, technique god, dragon god, which is Orsted, fighting god, demon god, death god, sword god, north god. But I don't have any information on any of those people that I can recall off the top of my head. If memory serves, I had confusion about who the demon god is, because we have, oh shoot, I forgot her name, the one with the eyeballs, the one who gives away eyeballs, and then Body Gotti. Nina's beating was all of her own doing. She recognized that the sword was weighted when she got it, and went along with it. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Gino showed us how anything goes as long as it's explicitly not stated to be against the rules. Nina got cocky because of it, not taking any extra steps to beat Eris after she broke Eris's sword. She thought that would be it, and wasn't prepared for the beating of her life. That's on her. I also have to think that since that wood-covered metal swords are readily on hand, it must be something they actively trained for, or with, doubly damning her. It's been too long. I forgot where Eris got her sword. Clearly from Julian, I guess, obviously, given the context of the conversation. Oh, I mean, wasn't Rujard gave it to her? But then I guess Rujard got it from Julian, but I don't remember anything about that. Good to see that Gal believes in transitive properties. Eris hasn't mastered the Blade of Light. Eris has mastered 2 people that have mastered the Blade of Light. Therefore, Eris must be stronger than the Blade of Light, and thus a sword saint. I like the idea of teaching Eris to act instinctively. I feel like that's where she was back in Season 1 when her fights seemed so much faster paced and interactive. She must be so much more in her own head after Orsted and leaving Rudy, because she slowed down quite a bit. We got a bit of her old style in the opening scenes, fighting monsters, but the moment she had to fight people again, it was prequels versus original trilogy. I suppose the only real detractor is that Eris's strength is inspired by her rage, and if anything has been true of Eris, it's typically that she takes a second for her to realize her anger. Even here, when she sees a vision of Orsted, there's a moment's realization before the anger kicks in. It's a path of not thinking that involves the most thinking that Eris has ever done. The stupidity of talking down about someone claiming they know how to write when you just blurt out that no one can check because they can't read. Also, screw them for shitting all of Ghislaine's effort that she put in back in Season 1. We need to get her in front of her brother again at some point to really show off how far she's come since leaving the village. I think I missed in the first episode when Ghislaine said it'd been years of Eris practicing swings. The camera angle clearly was distracting. Equally, I didn't put together that Orsted is the one that gave Gal his scars. Because there was that shot with Orsted standing there and Gal, like, on the ground, but the scars being highlighted on his face. Wait, why did Ghislaine ask who the dragon god was? And why did Gal say he didn't know? They both know who Orsted is, and I'm pretty sure they've referred to him as dragon god before as well. Did Ghislaine wag her tail because Gal is actually doing the training, or what amounts to it, like she asked? Or is she tied to the water god style in some way that she asked about it and only wagged her tail at the affirmation that someone there might be coming? The whole Nina Gino thing kinda gets introduced out of nowhere, but her response to the idea is kind of awkward itself, so not sure if that's true. That's why, for the time being, I have a white line connection on the board for them. It's the way she talks about it. Like, I don't know if that girl was like, oh, I think you two are a couple, and it's not true, and that's why it was awkward, the way that she responded. Or it is true, and that's why it's awkward. Like I said, I don't know. It's funny to know that Rudeus is well known outside of the time that we spend with him, that the side characters can go out and ask randos, and even they know his name. They even referenced a Soldat's group, so I guess he's more important than he seemed back in Season 2 as well. Equally funny is that Nina is the blue-haired girl we saw back in Season 2 that I was trying to figure out if we knew or not. I mean, back then. Like, they did nothing in the scene that they were in, but they got stood out enough as to make me ask questions. I think some commenters were even telling me to hold on, that I'd find out in the future. Well, here we are, sometime later, and I love that they showed her going to the school and just redoing the scene. There must be something I missed with the way Cruel reacted to Eris entering the room, She acted like she sensed an immediate threat and was going to attack. I mean, legit reaction to Eris, but no one else has acted that way. Even Auber had to get a good look at her first before he had the same reaction. Maybe it's their ranks. He was more subdued as an emperor, but as a king, she's more reactive. You'd think with Gaul's belief in transitive properties, as we talked about before, he'd make Nina a sword king after she beat a water king. I quite like that on the path to become someone that can stand beside Rudy and defeat Orsted, Eris is just becoming a more advanced Paul. And my final note. I know I started my notes with this, but seeing the look in Eris's eyes when talking about Rudy again, I just can't imagine this going the harem route that Roxy's getting pulled in with. There's gonna be a fight. Maybe that's how it happens, I don't know. But this isn't going to be a pretty re-meet. Maybe she'll be thrown off by the missing hand and won't try to kill him straight off? I don't know. I did say that we had a comment, though, from DBZ fan X1000 from the episode Burn, Mad Dog. The ring is the one she got from Ghislaine in episode 7 of season 1. She was wearing it most of the time throughout season 1 onwards, when she wasn't wearing the gloves that her outfit had in the second half of season 1. I do remember the gloves. I think I remember the gloves more so now that I'm watching season 3 with y'all again, because of Cruel has the gauntlets, and I'm thinking, oh god, those are fucking cool looking gauntlets. I don't know what purpose they serve, but they look fucking cool. And thinking about that makes me remember that Eris had gloves on. But maybe that's why I don't remember. Also, there's the element that I feel now that she's doing a lot of swordsmanship. Like, she did some back in season 1, obviously. But now that, like, it's the focus, at least from the last 2 episodes, that the camera does a lot of pan-in work on her hands. Whereas, you know, in season 1, we also had Rudy around. So, we focused mostly on Rudy. I don't know. Obviously, there's no real excuse for bad memory, other than the fact that I have it. That's why I take notes. Anyway, obviously I messed up. Anyway, so, I guess there's nothing left to do here but to hop on in and see what we get from this episode.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Back to the school and back to the home. What was the name of the episode, after all? Rudy has 2 wives, his 1 hand, and a baby. I remember there was a baby. But how is Mom doing? Okay. Didn't take us much time at all, did it? I forgot how jacked fucking Rudy was. That's from the trailer. As much as I prefer Eris, I'm still a Sylphette loyalist. I drew that line in the sand when she got there first. I mean, technically Eris did get there first, but I mean, Sylphette was there first when Rudy needed somebody to be there. I guess because you're covering yourself up. Yeah, where's your first wife, Rudy? Why are you sleeping alone with Roxy? It's been so long. I was like, what is Frieren doing here?
心配性な俺とは裏腹にルーシーはすくすくと育っている。シルフィーの産後も良好で母子ともに健康だ。
But was the worry because she's part elf that she would be a baby forever?
こんなに可愛いんだろうね。
ママが可愛いからだろうね。
もうありがとうルディ。
Yeah, I can't imagine this not being
おは
awkward.
ようロキシー。おはようございます。ロキシー、昨日のルディどうだった？そのよくしてもらいました。ルディも優しくしてくれて、なんかすいません。謝ることはないよ。そうでしょうか。そうだよ。
See, way more interested to know how Zenith is doing. Let's get away from that awkward conversation.
また少しまとめたんですけど、読んでもらってもいいですか？
もちろん。
スペルド族の名誉回復のために俺が作ろうとしていた本は今ではほとんどノルンが書いている。
That's pretty nice.
は拙いが頑張って書いているようで、俺が書くより面白いもの
Glad we're keeping Rougeard into the story somehow.
楽しみにしているな。
Not directly, but you know.
おはよう、母さん。
母さん、兄さんですよ。
シャリーアに戻ってきて、
I mean, it's something.
今でもゼニスの記憶は戻らない。少しずつ変化は見られるが、今はまだ様子を見るしかないだろう。
ご飯朝ご飯だよ。
Dang, gotta get reintroduced to all the characters. The board is so packed I can't remember names by it anymore.
今日の朝ごはんは何かな？
今日の朝食はいつもと大体同じでござい
I
ます。
saw her and I thought Lilia, which I believe is her mother's name. Her.
横豆とお芋のスープと麦パン、そして栄養たっぷりのバニラ。
I still really hate that we raised the daughter to be a maid because her mother was a maid.
おはようございます、リーダさん。
アイシャとリーリャさんはこれまでと変わらずメイドとして家のことをやってくれている。アイシャが元気すぎて叱られていることも多いが、なんだかんだ二人とも楽しそうだ。一度は離れ離れになったけど、こうしてまた家族一緒になることができた。
I mean, we can thank Paul for most of that,
俺は嬉しい。
では、いただき
dead
ます。
as he may be. Oh, I thought we were about to see Human God with the white transition.
俺とシルヒーは今日からまた学校に通う。
You think this is a full transition back to the present, and that Eris is going to show up
いえ、なんでも。
time jumped?
そうですか。ねえ、学校のみんなに
Or are we gonna go back to Eris at some point?
住んでいるの？
ああ、ロキシー師匠を魔法大学の教員として推薦したとき、施設の案内ついでにみんなに素晴らしさを伝えておいたんだ。師匠はとにかく崇高なお方だから。
Of course, half the people are subservient to you, or all of the beastmen.
プラスにしかならないからな。
レディーらしいね。いろんな方に紹介していただいたのは嬉しいんですが、ルディ、自分の師匠だったとは言ってくれても、妻とは言ってくれなかったんですよね。
Yeah, I'm saying, why would you hide that?
ごめんよ、ロキシー。はあ、マイスイートハート。でも本当に愛して
In
るんだ。
English, no less.
ありがとうございます。
I
ねえ、ルディ、
mind me,
僕には言ってくれたの？
Roxy doesn't know about him being Japanese the same way Sylphette
俺
doesn't.
は二人とも愛してる。
ルディ、学校でそういうことはやめよう。
Also from the trailer,
兄さん恥ずかしい
where I thought there was a third person walking in on the scene. Okay, didn't happen. I was wrong about the trailer. I only brought up that because sorry, about the Japanese thing.
ノルも勉強頑張って。
はい。
Because they showed Roxy meeting the white mask girl, whose name I can't remember. And that would be an additional secret kept by from the wives now.
ノルンさん、人気者なんですね。
ノルンは可愛いですから。
すごく頑張ってるのが伝わってくるからね。 応援したくなるんだよ。
妹が人気なのは兄として嬉しい。が、あの男どもノルに手出したら
Oh, that fucking look.
どこの馬の骨ともわからんやつに。うちの
I
妹
don't think anybody in the school would try messing with his sister.
みんなで行きましょう。
I like to shout out to Paul, of course.
どうぞ。
Half-assed, funniest name of the show.
失礼します。
お待ちしていました。ルーデウスさんは今日から復学でしたね。
はい。
God, I'm so ready for a whole nother season of this.
今日からまたお世話になります。
こちらこそよろしくお願いし
Hope
ま
we get a
す。
full 24 episodes. I have no
ロキシ
idea.
ーも本日から教壇に立っていただきますが、緊張していますか？
はい。師匠。
教師なんていらないと言っていたあのロキシーが随分と変わりましたね。
はい。自分でも驚いています。当時の私は思い上がっていまして。ですが、今は人に物を教える喜びというものが少しは理解できたつもりです。
I mean, you hired yourself out to families back in the day as a teacher, so.
はい。
では、俺は先に教室に行きますね。
はい。また後で。
It's also a funny little dynamic.
おはようございます。なんだ。
She, his wife, teaches there. He's a student.
おはようございましたにゃ。おはようなの。
二人ともおはよう。
Persuna?
朝から女二人も連れて登校とは。
I don't remember the other one's name.
私たちを捨てて二人目を連れてくるなんて何なの？あちらも今年で卒業だから誰か見つくろうにゃ。
Oh, that's right.
今年は
Didn't Human God said he had to marry one of them too?
故郷に帰るの。
Or both of them?
いい男見つけるにゃ。
今までそういったことはめんどくさそうにしていたが、どうやら両手に花な俺が羨ましくなったみたいだな。
I mean, technically, he fought every beast man to have the right to them, I guess. Weird as that fucking sounds.
おはようザナバー。ジュリもおはよう。
教室に来られたということは今日からまた。
ああ、また一緒に研究できるな。
それでしたらちょうどいい。後ほど見ていただきたいものがあります。
何かあるのか？
New statue.
この半年の研究の成果であります。
Or is it gonna be that robot thing?
わかった。楽しみにしておくよ。おはよう。
おはよう。
I don't remember when she stopped wearing the mask.
大丈夫よ。それより学校に来たってことはしばらくはどこにも行かないんでしょうね。
あ、
そう。これで研究の続きができるわね。
ルーデウス、
クリフ先輩、おはようございます。
リーゼから一緒に戻ってきたとは聞いていたが、僕のところにも挨拶に来てくれてもよかったんじゃないか？
すいません、伺ったのですが、エリナ・リーゼさんとお忙しそうだったので。
They have to be. She requires it to live.
そういうことなら仕方ない。僕にも非があるな。
Although he was working on a chastity belt, memory serves.
かけてくれてもよかったじゃないか。
そうですね。
子育てで忙しいのもあるだろうが、最近まるで僕を避けているみたいじゃないか。
確かにそうかもしれない。ミリス教徒である
Wonder how Cliff is gonna act when Eris shows back up again.
あまりいい顔はしないと思う。
Clearly, he's moved on.
それとも僕に会いたくない理由でもあったのかな。
Yeah, because you're religious and I'm
実は
おはようございます。
guilty of a crime, I guess.
さあ、席についてください。
ロキシー・ミグルディア・グレイラットです。
彼女は本日付でラノア魔法大学の講師として赴任。
Like I said, he's a student at the school, and she's a teacher. Although this is more like a college situation, so it's not like that.
皆さん、よろしくお願いします。
すでに紹介してもらった方も多いと思いますが、私はそちらにいるルーデウス・グレイラットの2番目の妻となります。教師と生徒では接し方も違ってくるとは思いますが、よろしくお願いします。
へえ、2番目の妻。
Let's say
ねえ。
we just covered the fact that Cliff didn't know, so I forget, why is Ginger hanging around again? Was there a reason? Is she just looking after Juliet? Oh, there was a robot in the background. Or whatever it's called, I forgot.
その説については大変ありがたく思っています。
もちろん君がミリス教徒じゃないのは知っているからこれ以上何も言わないけどね。いや、むしろ祝福するよ。おめでとう。
ありがとうございます。
Not worthy of celebration. I'm still firmly in the camp of wishing it didn't happen.
彼女は言っていたよ。将来は兄さんとシルフィー姉さんのように仲睦まじい夫婦になりたいって。
Are we talking about Norn?
彼女は二人目の妻を連れてきた君に何と言っていたかな。
怒ってました。
そうだろうとも。彼女は君と父君の生還を毎日のように祈っていたからね。君が生きて帰ってきたということ自体は非常に喜ばしいものだったんだろう。けれど父親を失った彼女の寄るべは君しかいないんだ。もう少しノルン君の心情をおもんぱかるべきじゃないかな。
Okay, it was Norn.
はい。
あんまり伴侶を増やしすぎることは良いことじゃないよ。
はい。クリフ先輩。
なんだ、ルーデス。
ノルンの相手をしてくださってたんですよね。ありがとうございました。
教会で見かけたから話し相手をして。
I mean, I'm glad there's like some kickback against his polygamy, but I don't think Cliff is giving that good of an argument either way. Yeah, I know. Rudy got kidnapped in season 1, along with Eris. The world hasn't changed that much in 3 seasons.
本人も反省しているようだしな。僕は君の罪を許そう。ミリス様は寛大なお方であらせられ。
Still haven't figured out if Cliff is the Pope, by the way. The Goblin special episode with Eris. Pretty sure they were indicating he was the Pope.
魔術の効かないヒュドラでした。
魔術が効かない。それなら君が苦戦するのも納得だ。よく倒せたな。
父さんたちがいたからですよ。勝てはしましたけど、失ったものも多かったです。
I mean, it was bound to happen. People I get drawn as tend to die.
こちらをご覧ください。
なんだそれを。
Oh, we're getting the Luke Skywalker? Robot hand?
さあ、左手をこちらに。
おう。落ちそうだが。
呪文は土よ我がカイナとなれです。
はい。
Fair enough. I feel like I might have said something about this before. Just using magic to control puppetry or whatever.
動くぞ。
ほら、ルーデス。
すごいな。指先の感覚まであるのか。
I don't know how I feel about this. There was a consequence to an action that happened, and now we've negated the consequence.
これを使えば世の怪力を抑えて人形制作ができるのです。
それはすごいな。
At least appreciate there's some payoff to the whole sculpting thing.
手がない状態で使えるかどうかは分からなかったのですが大丈夫なようですな。
なあ、この手で魔術を使っても問題ないのか？
I mean, it's extending down through your arm into the hand, so I have to assume so. I'm gonna guess, given how the show treats things that happen to Rudy, it's actually gonna be amplifying the magic. So it's gonna be stronger than usual. I can't remember what his average was, so that seems like it's better than he was before. I haven't seen him fight in forever. I mean, I didn't really change anything. He could have done that with his other hand. Pointedly, he can do swordsmanship again, I guess.
まだ試作段階ですが、ないよりはマシでしょう。それに師匠とクリフ殿に手伝ってもらえれば似たようなものはすぐにできるでしょうからな。
そういえばこの魔道具名前はあるのか？
あ、名前はまだついていないのです。よもクリフ
All right, here we go. Come up with something clever.
せっかくだし。
I would expect that Rudy would have seen Star Wars at some point. I can't believe he's not making the reference.
それなら2人の名前から取ってザリフの騎士というのはどうだろう?
Pretty bland, considering, you know, we're naming it after him.
俺は関わってないんですから。
関わっていないということはないと思いますが。
I guess he couldn't make a Luke reference because he knows a guy named Luke that shares his own last name.
その手はザリフの義手試作第1号ですな。
I don't remember a pet. I guess they got a pet. Unworthy of note. The problem is I want good things for Aisha. She takes after her mother too much, I think. I want good things for her, but I feel like she's being repressed into the maid role. He's a hand for both wives now. Of course he went Rudy.
それにこれで思う存分2人を堪能できる。もうルディ、ちょっとどこ触って。兄さん恥ずかしいですよ。ご飯夕ご飯だよ。
I can only feel like they're showing us that we're getting into a routine to break it. Something's going to happen.
フィットア寮の転移事件が起きてから本当にいろんなことがあった。マ大陸での冒険。
I was just thinking he doesn't think about Eris. At least he thought about her once, in name at least.
ロキシーとの再会。母さんの救出。その過程で失ってしまったものもあるけれど、いつもの日常が戻ってきた。これからもこのいつもを大切にしていこう。
Like I said, we're only in normal to break it. Something's gonna happen. Something's coming. The room where we found the automaton? Her panties still? You married her. You got it. He got rid of Eris's hair, didn't he? Because remember, he used to keep both. Oh, ending credits? Actual ending credits? If you're forgetting. Sorry, my brain's not working. It's 1 a.m. I'm bad at thinking at 1 a.m. Thank God they're Eris themed credits. Oh shit. Sorry. For those of you on YouTube, we can't see this because I cover it up. Copyright reasons, which I was going back to explain. Grown up Eris. more grown-up looking than she seemed in the thing that we just saw before, last 2 episodes. Although this is, to be fair, differently animated. Okay, I guess she's staying at the school then. We're not going to see her cross Rudy anytime soon. Even though apparently she's not that far away, given that Nina just went there. Oh no, actually, you know what I'm thinking? The element is that Rudy's settling into a normal life. Maybe this entire episode was just to show us we've got nothing to watch with Rudy right now. He's living a normal life, and we're going to go back to Eris without having to wonder what the hell Rudy's up to. But fine, fair enough. I'm good with that, actually. We had a whole season of Rudy. Give me more Eris, please. Is that... I don't know what that alludes to. I was just saying my whole piece about hoping that we're just going to go back to Eris. But that seems to me a king-class water mage. Is that Rudy? He did get a start with water. We know he's ranked in water. Is Rudy going to go back to swordsmanship like I was talking about? Now he has 2 hands to do it with? Are we going to get side-by-side Eris progressing in swordsmanship and Rudy getting back on his feet with swordsmanship? Or are we going to go back there and Eris is going to have to fight somebody else who has similar traits to Rudy? I don't know, Rudy's kind of gotten, what do you call it, earth magic? Rock magic? That seems to be his main offensive thing along with the water. I mean, it's what he did with Bodygotti, and we've seen him do it before. It was his opening move on the target dummy. Before then, he switched over to water. I don't know. Again, my impetus is to lean towards I want more Eris. We've been away from Eris and Ghislaine for so long. I mean, we've been away from Ghislaine for so fucking long. Because, we went to the Demon Continent, we had Eris, we had Rougeard. Ghislaine was just gone. Finally got her back, and she went with Eris. Oh, sorry. What I was going to say during the ending credits before I realized we had stuff to see for Eris was the element that I like that we have, and now I can't think of the word. An opening sequence, which is part of the show, right? Season 2 had its own dedicated opening sequence a lot of the time. I like it when we're watching the characters do things, and there might be a song playing, there might not be the song playing, but it's just also the credits on top of it. Diegetic, I think is the word I mean to say. I prefer those, when we have them, to an actual opening sequence. Now, an ending credit sequence, I think we've always had an ending credit sequence. That's no different. This is just the first time I'm seeing it for the season. So yeah, I mean, the problem herein is that this is the first time coming back to Rudy since season 2. We've had all this time in between. And obviously the conversation back then would have been the same. How do we feel about Rudy being with Sylphette, having a child, and then getting with Roxy? And I don't think my feelings have changed. I'm not a fan. Obviously, I'm not so one way or the other to think it ruins anything. It's more of Rudy being Rudy. I just don't support the world supporting him in this. And then in that case, I like that Cliff. Sorry, again, 1 a.m. brain. I like that Cliff is getting on him about it. My problem therein, though, is that Cliff is getting on him about it. 1, because of conversations that they've had. How it affects Norn is I appreciate that, but I don't think it's a strong viewpoint to come at him with. And then, of course, there's the whole religious angle, which doesn't seem to really bother Cliff that much. So, I don't know. Like I said, I appreciate that the world kind of does crack back on him a little bit, but not enough. Not that anyone cares. The whole school fucking supports him. But then again, should I be rooting against the main character of the show? If you could get past Rudy for 3 episodes of the show, then you shouldn't have really a problem with what he's up to, right? Because you know who he is. It didn't stop you from watching. So more of the same is more of the same. But I feel like at the end of the day, there's that expectation of, I guess, soap opera stuff, right? Who is he going to end up with? Where is this going to end, right? So you got in your head, oh, it's going to be Sylphette, Roxy, or Eris. Not, it's going to be Sylphette and Roxy. It just kind of feels like a subversion. The rug's been pulled out from under you on what you're your hope or expectation was. I guess, I keep saying that Sylphette was there first, and actually, Sylphette was there first. Sylphette was there first, then Eris, and then Eris got all the way, and then left. Actually, sorry, no, Roxy was there first. I keep forgetting. My brain is so all over the place with this. So, yeah, as I said in my notes section, I hope we can just put the arguments behind us. At the same time, knowing that I want to put the arguments behind us, I'm also going to express how I feel about it every time I see it. They might be cool with it. Well, you know what? I guess that's the argument right there, isn't it? They're cool with it. Why should I care if they are fine? I don't so much appreciate Rudy spending time with Roxy alone and leaving his other wife to raise the kid, and then to come back and her being like, how was he last night? And it's like, sorry, I'm doing the head bop, but she was fine with it. So I don't know. The problem isn't mine, and it's their relationship. I understand they're fictional characters and I'm a real living human person, but it's their relationship. I don't know why I should be bothered by it if they're not. I guess, again, because I'm a real life person and I had hopes for the characters. And I guess once my hopes became disappointments, I kind of just harped with that for a bit. But, shouldn't I be hoping for the character's happiness? If I hope that Sylphette is happy with Rudy, and Sylphette turns out to be happy with Rudy with Roxy, am I then not happy with the happiness of the character whose happiness I hoped for? If that makes sense? I feel like that made sense. It made some sense, I hope. So why should I then be unhappy with the situation that the character I'm hoping for to be happy is happy with? Is it that I'm rooting for her to be happier in a situation that would cause her distress to... the element, if we took Roxy out of the picture, wouldn't that not make Sylphette more unhappy because Rudy would be unhappy? But do I want Sylphette's happiness to be based on somebody else's happiness? But then again, is that not a relationship? I think you just gotta have to accept it. I've rooted against it. I've said my arguments against it. I wish that the world wasn't so for it. But at the same time, if I hope for the happiness of the characters that I want to follow, and they're happy with this, then I have to accept that the happiness I hope for them is the happiness that they have, right? Right? Okay. I think that's where I'm going to leave that. I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to leave everything right there as that was. Hopefully somebody will comment and tell me that that made sense. And we'll come back next time with notes and board. This time only for one episode, so it'll be fine. Either way, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stone-Faced Reactions, and we will catch you again next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?